guys, it's coffee time. Yay! And if you came from my news episode, I'll get to this later. If you came from my news episode, you know that my first cup of coffee today, I spilled everywhere. It was terrible. It was like one of those slow motion, like reaching out for something and realizing I'm about to hit my coffee cup and then seeing it slowly tip over and going, like, can I save it? No, and it was just, it was everywhere. It took so long to clean up. Oh, that's right. I was like, there's something crusty in my eyebrow. And then, yeah, so I made my news episode, and I was like, can't handle it anymore, and so I took a shower, and then it was time for me to go to the shoot. But this is exciting though, right? Because now I can make a coffee time looking super beautiful. I mean, they got me all hot for that video that I was in. I might as well share it with you guys. It's not every day that I look this delicious. So yeah, I was in a short, serious, like horror video for Denise Vlogs. And it should turn out pretty cool. I'm excited about it. I think they said it's supposed to be up on Wednesday, so I'll link you guys to it when that happens. But yeah, it was, it's always so fun getting makeup, especially like beat up makeup. That sounds terrible, because getting beat up is not something to like joke about always. Although I am a huge fan of slapstick humor. Like if in a movie somebody gets slapped in the face and then they like fall over, funny. I laugh every time. Or if they trip, oh, it's so funny. Anyway, so when I went to get my my makeups did, they were like, oh, well, we should probably, you know, like, we'll add like a little bit of blood. And I was like, oh, could I have like a head wound? Like, could you just add a ton of blood on my head? And they were like, okay. I like to think, I hope that I'm a fun person to do makeup on. Because if they suggest something, I'll typically go, do that. You should totally do that. Like, it's just, I just love it. It's so fun. But since we're on the creep train, because I already look kind of creepy, oh, hello. Since I'm my phone. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was thinking today about how funny it is, like, where I am now, like, what I'm doing now. How I'm doing, like, you know, these videos for YouTube, and then I'm working for a little studio and stuff like that. But when I was in high school, my two goals were either to be an actress or to be a coroner. Those were the two, like, those were the goals. And that sounds super creepy. Most of the people that I tell that to, like, oh yeah, I think cadavers are super interesting and I wanted to be a coroner. That was my goal. People get really weirded out. Which I totally understand, because when I saw my, I've seen more than one. When I saw my first cadaver, it was in high school for anatomy and physiology, and a bunch of us came, and there were a few people who had to leave the room. Like they could not handle it at all, which I totally get. But I thought it was the most interesting thing ever, and they had it so that they could like pull out the organs, like be like, oh yeah, and just like pull back little flaps in the stomach and be like, here's the liver, and we'd be like, what? It was so cool to me. So I went home to my mom. This was my mom's idea, by the way. I went home to my mom, and I was like, yeah, that cadaver was really interesting. And I think that anatomy and physiology is super interesting too, like that's my favorite class right now. And my mom was like, oh, maybe you should be a coroner. And I was like, oh, maybe I should. But the second that I was in college biology, I realized that that was a terrible idea. Because I'm really bad at studying. Really bad. Really, really bad. I think that if I learned better study habits, I would be okay. But I've never been able to teach myself to be a good studier. I'm a very tactile learner, and you know how they always tell you that there are like different types of learners, like reading learners and hearing learners. I'm, I guess what's called like a doing learner or something like that, where if I'm physically messing with something, then I figure it out. Which I think is one of the reasons why I really love tinkering with stuff, and why I got into props, like figuring out how something works. If I just like look at it and mess with it, it's way easier for me than like looking at a diagram. That's not my favorite thing ever. Or like with tabletop games. I can figure out how to play a tabletop game if somebody says, let's just play it and see if you figure it out. I will figure it out. if I just watch people play it and then like attempt to play it myself. If somebody sits there and goes, okay, so first you're gonna draw 6 cards, but one of those cards you're gonna put in your automatic discard pile. Now this will be very important later. So now you're gonna add up all of your points from these cards that are left. We'll get to the discard pile later, don't worry about it. And then you're gonna draw from the foreign little thingy, and then you're gonna, you know, pick up some dice, and you're just like, what? There's too much happening right now. Yeah. So I am a tactile learner. I need to be holding it in my hand and doing something with it learner. Which if I come back to cadavers now is gonna be super creepy. But I think that's why I liked Anatomy and Phys so much. Because they were like, alright, so we're gonna learn about eyeballs. Here's an eyeball. And they handed you an eyeball and you went, awesome! I went, awesome! I don't know. But then once I was in biology class, it was like all books. I feel like I can see the future. I can see some people going, I'm gonna go ahead and unsubscribe from you now, you're a little too creepy. That's okay. Better that you know the truth than to think that I was really excited about my future as a florist or as a mother of 15. I don't know. Mother of 15 would be an interesting goal. I feel like that's like an excessive goal. That would be kind of like when somebody's like, oh yeah, my goal in life is to get every gold medal ever. I'd be like, that's probably not gonna happen. If somebody came up to me and said, I want to be a mother of 15, I would say, that's probably not gonna happen. Unless you are really going for it, that's probably not gonna happen. I don't know, I mean, was it my grandma? My Nona? Who had like 12 brothers and sisters? Can't remember. I don't know. I think that it's more common now for there to be smaller families. But that wasn't always the case, obviously. Mother of 15. I couldn't do that. I could not complete that task. Yeah. But anyway, that was my day. I went and I was in a horror thing and looked super hot. And the only other thing that I did today was go to work and do news and spill coffee. Oh, I've had an eventful day. We're okay. But yeah. So, I hope that you guys had a good day. And yeah, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Not looking quite so splendid, but I will still be here. Anywho, I'm gonna take a shower. Alright, bye-bye. Mwah!